Franklin Delano Roosevelt was born on January 30th, 1882, in the peaceful town of Hyde Park, New York. His family was rich and respected, and he enjoyed a childhood full of comfort and learning. Every morning, his mother, Sarah, sat with him beside an open window and read stories about history and adventures. She believed that books could open new worlds, and she encouraged Franklin to ask questions about everything he saw. His father, James, was a kind man who cared deeply about helping others. On weekends, Franklin watched his father visit neighbors in need, bringing food or offering small repairs around their homes. From these moments, Franklin learned the importance of kindness and service to his community. As a boy, Franklin spent many hours outdoors. He wandered through the green fields of his family's estate, watching butterflies dance among tall grasses. He loved to sit by the Hudson River and listen to the soft sound of water against the shore. In those quiet moments, he felt free and peaceful. He noticed how the wind made the leaves tremble, and how the sun painted the sky in shades of gold. These simple observations filled him with curiosity. He would ask his tutor to explain why butterflies had bright wings or how the river flowed so gently yet so powerfully. These questions helped him build a strong bond with nature and taught him to see learning as a joyful journey. Franklin's home was often filled with guests from all over the state. During summer gatherings, local leaders and friends of his parents would arrive in elegant carriages. Franklin, though young, was allowed to sit quietly among the adults. He listened carefully as people spoke about politics, business, and the future of their country. He learned words like mingle, debate, and observe. Even when he did not understand every detail, he paid close attention to the tone of voice and the expressions on people's faces. At the end of each event, he would run to his mother and repeat the new words he had heard. This practice helped him build his vocabulary and confidence in speaking with others. In the evenings, when the sun dipped below the hills, Franklin often looked out at the sky and dreamed of adventures. He imagined himself as a great explorer sailing across vast oceans. He pictured the creaking of a wooden deck under his feet and the salty breeze on his face. He thought about distant lands with bright cities or quiet islands surrounded by blue water. In his mind, he steered a strong ship through storms and calm seas alike. His father encouraged his dreams by teaching him simple navigation skills, explaining how stars can guide sailors at night. These stories fed Franklin's imagination and planted a seed of wonder that would grow throughout his life. At school, Franklin was a bright student. He used to stay after class to ask his teachers about history and science. He enjoyed learning new words and putting them into simple sentences. His tutor helped him build strong habits, such as reading aloud each day to improve his pronunciation and using a small notebook to write down new vocabulary. He practiced sentences like, "I observe the butterflies," or "I help my father." These exercises were small, but they gave him a sense of pride and progress. Even as he explored his world, Franklin never forgot the lessons from his parents and nature. He knew that true strength came from understanding others, from listening more than speaking, and from finding beauty in simple things. His early experiences, reading stories with his mother, helping neighbors with his father, wandering the fields, listening to leaders, and dreaming of the sea, shaped his mind and heart. They taught him to value curiosity, kindness, and the power of knowledge. As he grew older, these values would guide him through greater challenges and lead him to help millions of people across his state and country. Franklin's roots in Hyde Park were humble and kind, and his dreams were bold and far-reaching. These early days laid the foundation for the leader he would become, one who would always remember to learn slowly, listen carefully, and act with compassion. Franklin Delano Roosevelt arrived at Harvard University in the autumn of 1900 with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The historic brick buildings, the wide green lawns, and the sound of students' voices filled him with wonder. He lived in a small dorm room where he shared a desk with a roommate he had just met. Every morning he joined crowded lecture halls to hear professors speak about history, politics, and economics. He learned new words like ambitious, compassionate, and debate. He studied hard, but he also took time to walk along the Charles River, watching small boats drift by. In those quiet moments, he felt a balance between his busy school life and his need for calm reflection. During his second year at Harvard, Franklin's life changed in a more personal way. At a formal dance, he met Eleanor Roosevelt, his distant cousin and the niece of President Theodore Roosevelt. Eleanor was gentle, thoughtful, and intelligent. She smiled politely when Franklin introduced himself, and they spoke about their favorite books and poems. Franklin noticed how carefully she chose her words and how she listened with real interest. Over time, their friendship grew into a deep partnership. They spent afternoons walking through Harvard Yard, talking about their hopes for the future. Franklin learned that being a good listener was as important as speaking well. At the same time, Franklin wanted to build skills beyond his classes. He joined the debate team, where he practiced forming clear arguments and speaking confidently to an audience. He also wrote for the Harvard Crimson newspaper. In the newsroom, he edited other students' articles and learned to spot mistakes in grammar and facts. He discovered that careful editing made writing stronger and more persuasive. These experiences gave him confidence and taught him the value of preparation. He would often say to himself, "I can plan my words. I can share my ideas clearly." These skills would serve him well in his future life. After graduating from Harvard in 1903, Franklin turned his attention to public service. In 1910, he decided to run for the New York State Senate. He traveled across small towns and large cities, shaking hands and listening to people's concerns. He spoke with farmers worried about crop prices and with factory workers seeking fair wages. He learned new phrases like economic development and social welfare. His friends helped him write simple campaign posters with slogans such as "Hope for All." Against many expectations, Franklin won the election and became one of the youngest state senators in New York's history. His victory showed him that listening and responding to real needs in the community could bring people together. Life seemed smooth for Franklin, but in the summer of 1921, everything changed when he fell ill with polio at Campobello Island. At first, he thought it was a simple fever. Then he could not stand or walk. He felt fear and frustration as he realized that his legs would no longer support him. His wife, Eleanor, stood by his side, helping him move from his bed to a wheelchair. Franklin learned new words like resilience and adaptation. He practiced smiling even when he felt pain, and he worked hard in physical therapy sessions, determined not to let this illness define him. As he struggled with his new reality, he also found a deeper sense of empathy for others facing illness or hardship. Through the challenges of Harvard, public life, and illness, Franklin Delano Roosevelt grew into a stronger and more caring person. He discovered that learning was not only about books, but also about listening to others, reflecting on experiences, and adapting to change. The friendships he built with Eleanor and his teammates taught him the power of partnership. His early political success showed him that service to the community could create real hope. His battle with polio revealed the importance of resilience and compassion. These lessons of challenges and growth prepared Franklin for the remarkable journey ahead. as he would use every skill and every feeling he had gained to serve his state and, one day, his country. Franklin Delano Roosevelt's journey after his illness showed his true strength and determination. He discovered that warm spring waters in Georgia helped his body move more easily. The buoyancy of the water gave him a sense of freedom he had not felt since he fell ill. He spent many hours each day in simple exercises, guided by kind therapists who encouraged him to try one more step. He learned new words like recover, strengthen, and persevere. In 1927, he opened a special center at Warm Springs to help other people with polio find hope and healing. The Warm Springs Foundation became a place of friendship and support, where patients cheered one another on. Franklin saw that helping others gave him new energy and purpose. By 1928, Franklin's recovery had progressed enough for him to return to public life. He ran for governor of New York, determined to serve his community with the lessons he had learned. He traveled across cities and small towns, sometimes arriving in a car, sometimes in a simple train compartment. He spoke about his own challenges and offered programs to help families during hard times. First, he created relief funds for unemployed workers. Then, he improved public education by opening new schools and libraries. Finally, he supported projects to build roads and parks, giving people work and hope. His clear sequence of plans, first relief, then education, then infrastructure, helped voters see his practical approach. When he became governor, he did not let his physical limitations stop him. He used braces and a cane to stand at podiums and inspire crowds with his calm smile. In 1932, as the nation faced the Great Depression, Franklin ran for President of the United States. He promised a New Deal for all Americans. He introduced 3 major programs: the Civilian Conservation Corps to plant trees and protect forests, the Works Progress Administration to build schools, hospitals, and roads, and Social Security to give older people a small income when they could no longer work. These programs provided jobs, improved communities, and offered security to millions of families. Franklin spoke directly to the people in his famous fireside chats on the radio. His warm voice said, "We will overcome this crisis together." He explained each program slowly, using simple words so that every listener could understand. The nation felt comforted by his clear plans and hopeful tone. When World War II began, Franklin again showed his leadership. After the attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941, he addressed Congress and the American people. His words, "A date which will live in infamy," rallied the nation. He guided the country through the war by working closely with allies like Winston Churchill and Joseph Stalin. He held regular meetings to plan military operations and to ensure supplies reached soldiers overseas. He knew that winning the war was vital for peace and freedom around the world. While the war demanded much of him, he still found time to share personal moments with his family. His wife, Eleanor, wrote to him about their children's letters and the small joys of home, giving him strength amid constant challenges. Despite his heavy workload and ongoing health struggles, Franklin balanced public duty and private life with grace. He received updates from Eleanor and their children each day, smiling as he read their notes of love and support. He often said that his family's care reminded him of what he was fighting for: a better world where every child could grow up in safety and opportunity. In quiet moments, he reflected on his own journey from Warm Springs to the White House, grateful for the lessons he had learned. Franklin's leadership left a lasting legacy. He shaped the modern role of government by showing that it could protect people in times of need. He helped create an international organization, the United Nations, to build a peaceful future. His Social Security program became a cornerstone of American life, giving security to generations of older citizens. His ability to speak simply and kindly taught future leaders the power of clear communication. When he passed away in April 1945, the nation mourned deeply. Yet his ideas continued to guide America forward. Franklin Delano Roosevelt's triumph over adversity and his dedication to service showed that true leadership grows from compassion, perseverance, and a belief that every person deserves hope and opportunity. Franklin Delano Roosevelt's life shows us how a person can rise from simple beginnings to make a big difference in the world. He was born in 1882 in Hyde Park, New York, into a loving family. His mother taught him to love reading and learning, and his father showed him how to help others. As a boy, Franklin wandered in nature, gaining curiosity and peace. At Harvard, he grew in knowledge and met Eleanor, his lifelong partner. He learned to speak and write clearly, skills that helped him in public life. Early in his career, Franklin won a seat in the New York State Senate by listening to people's needs and offering simple but real solutions. When polio struck him in 1921, he did not give up. He worked hard in warm spring waters and built a center to help others with the same illness. His determination brought him back to public life, first as governor of New York and then as President of the United States. During the Great Depression, Franklin created the New Deal programs to give work, hope, and security to millions of Americans. He spoke to the nation in his fireside chats, using kind words and clear plans. When World War II began, he guided the country with courage and wisdom, working with world leaders to bring peace. Even through his illness, he showed strength, always supported by Eleanor and his family. The lesson from Franklin's story is that true leadership comes from compassion, perseverance, and a belief in learning. He listened more than he spoke, adapted to challenges, and used simple, honest words to connect with people. Today, we can apply these lessons by remaining curious, helping others, and never giving up when life becomes hard. We can practice clear communication by choosing simple words and listening closely to those around us. By working together and showing kindness, we make our own community stronger. Congratulations! You have finished listening to Franklin Delano Roosevelt's inspiring journey. Your English listening and understanding skills are growing with each story. Now let us see what you remember. What quality helped Franklin most when he faced polio? A. Giving up and resting. B. Working hard and staying hopeful. Type A or B in the comments below to share your answer. If you enjoyed this story and found it helpful, please subscribe to Woo English for more lessons. Your support gives us the energy to create new, free content. If you can, consider donating to help us cover costs and keep our channel growing. Thank you for learning with us, and we look forward to sharing the next story soon.